They don't want you to know about this planet. It was first logged, quietly, in the margins of an internal transmission from a deep space reconnaissance mission labeled E-17 Omicron. The data was flagged as corrupted and buried in a classified archive. But fragments leaked. Just enough for someone like me to follow. Its name doesn't exist in any official star chart. But in the files, it was called Nemoris. A pale blue world orbiting a collapsed binary system, far outside the mapped lanes of exploration. What made Nemoris unremarkable at first glance was its silence. No apparent communication, no obvious technology, no war, no crime. But that calm masked something much darker. You see, Nemoris does not use money. Not in the way we understand it. No paper, no metal, no digital credit. On this world, memory is the only form of currency. And I'm not talking about data, files, videos, or neural backups. I mean real, lived memories. The taste of your mother's soup, the sound of your child's first laugh, the sensation of your first kiss under the rain. These are worth something. These are tradable. And most disturbingly, these are spendable. From the moment you're born on Nemoris, your memories begin to accrue value. Every experience you live, whether joyful, traumatic, mundane, or sacred, is stored in a kind of cognitive ledger. The wealth of a citizen isn't measured in gold or stock options. It's measured in how much of themselves they still remember. Transactions happen through a ubiquitous bioorganic network called the tide, a planetary interface embedded in every sentient being's nervous system. You don't carry a wallet. You carry your past. And to buy anything, from food to shelter to transportation, you must surrender a memory. The tide scans your request, calculates value, and withdraws the funds. The memory is then gone. Permanently. As if it never happened. People adapt. At first, they give away what seems useless. Boring school days, awkward moments, meaningless conversations. But the tide becomes hungrier over time. It demands more vividness, more weight. Soon, you must trade something intimate. The warmth of your grandmother's arms, the sound of your name whispered by someone who once loved you. All of it, just to survive another week. I spoke with one of the few independent researchers who decoded the lost logs before they were scrubbed. He described the psychological decay like this. They start as people. They end as husks. They smile, they talk, but there's no timeline behind their eyes. No why, no who. They bought their way to the present by selling their ability to understand how they got there. Entire districts on Nemoris are known as the Hollow Zones, vast stretches of slums where the poor wander in mental silence. They have no memories left to spend. They've sold everything: birthdays, heartbreaks, the names of their children, the meaning of their scars. These zones are hauntingly quiet. There's no conversation, only repetition, as if the people trapped there are running on borrowed software. But the elites, those who know how to manipulate the system, live differently. They are the memory lords. They hoard their past like treasure. They never spend their own recollections. Instead, they buy black market memories from the poor. These can be installed through gray market neural threads, allowing the rich to experience things they've never lived. Imagine, a billionaire walks through a thunderstorm and suddenly remembers the feeling of dying in a war he never fought. Or laughs at a joke only meaningful to a child he never was. That's what passes for luxury on Nemoris. Not experiences, borrowed meaning. And you'd think this would be science fiction. But the reports, what little remain, are eerily consistent. Every neural scan, every behavioral profile, matched exactly what our brain would look like if we physically removed a memory from the hippocampus and forcibly rerouted emotional association. Which leads to a chilling question: what if memory as currency wasn't an invention, but a test? The most disturbing part isn't that Nemoris exists. It's that someone may have designed it. There's a passage buried in the final recovered fragment of the E-17 Omicron mission log. It wasn't written by a scientist or technician, but by one of the observers. Just a line. Simple. Chilling. This is not a society. It's a filter. A filter for what? Some believe Nemoris is a controlled experiment, an artificial environment created by a non-terrestrial intelligence. One that doesn't value gold or power or influence, but the ability to choose between self and survival. A civilization constructed to answer a single question: how much of yourself would you give away just to stay alive? And apparently, most people give away everything. This is where the whispers begin. In the most secret circles of xenopsychology and astroarchaeology, there's talk of the Great Trade Theory, a hypothesis suggesting that advanced alien species don't conquer by war or by force. They don't need to. They simply give civilizations exactly what they think they want: ease, security, exchange. A simple system. But with a catch. One tiny cost. Your identity. If you control the economy of memory, you control the very fabric of who a being is. You don't need to imprison them. They'll cage themselves, willingly, moment by moment, memory by memory. Back on Nemoris, the most terrifying technology isn't the tide. It's the archive, a vast data vault beneath the capital city. This is where every spent memory is stored. Nothing is ever truly deleted. The archive holds centuries of human experience, sealed off from the people who lived them. And guess who has access? The Watchers. That's what the locals call them. Not law enforcement, not rulers. Just Watchers. Faceless, non-speaking figures that monitor the flow of memory transactions across the planet. They don't intervene. They don't punish. They just observe. Some say the Watchers aren't from Nemoris. That they were never born. That they are the ones who built the tide, who programmed the archive, who first made memory into something you could spend. The logs never identified their species, and attempts to record or scan them failed every time. So who are they? And why memories? Here's one theory: memories are energy. Not just electrical pulses in a brain, but actual vibrational, metaphysical codes, uniquely structured packets of emotional, experiential data. In this model, a memory isn't just a personal event. It's a charge, something that can be extracted, harvested, and possibly used. Like batteries. So imagine millions of beings voluntarily giving up their richest, most emotionally potent memories daily. Imagine the field that creates. Imagine the power. Still think this is fiction? Look around. Even here on Earth, memory is under siege. Attention spans are collapsing. Algorithms decide what we remember. Social media rewards short-term dopamine over long-term reflection. You forget more than you realize, and every year, it gets easier to let go of the past. Voluntarily. We might not have the tide. Not yet. But what if Nemoris is just a preview? A warning? The team that leaked the Nemoris fragments vanished one by one. Journalists who tried to publish their findings had entire articles pulled, funding revoked, careers shattered. Not silenced by bullets, but by erasure. The same fate as the people of Nemoris. I managed to trace one of the original field operatives, years off-grid, unstable. When I asked him about Nemoris, he didn't respond directly. He just whispered, "I remember the stars. I don't remember why I went there." That was all. Then he looked at me with eyes that had no story behind them. Just presence. Just a hollow now. So if you've made it this far, I'll ask you this. What are your memories worth? And how many would you give up for comfort, for safety, for survival? Because maybe Nemoris is not just another planet. Maybe it's our mirror. And maybe it's already begun.